methods of warfare may be constantly changing, but one thing stays the same. The front line is where the intense action takes place. The amazing V-22 Osprey is a revolutionary aircraft that can get troops to the front line fast. It combines the agility of a helicopter with the sheer speed of a plane.
I can barely believe I'm actually flying in the Osprey.
And if you're stuck on the front line, you're going to need a bit of help. This new grenade launcher doubles as a 400-round-a-minute machine gun.
Fast, flexible, and delivers a ton of firepower.
Or take the Stryker, not just the fastest armored carrier in the world's war, it's also the smartest. I'm Richard Mackwitz, and I spent 10 years as a Navy SEAL. My journey to find the best weapons of the future has taken me to the front line.
Special Operations Forces are lean, mean, and extremely versatile. So are the aircraft that take them into battle. You have airplanes, you have helicopters. Both have capabilities, both have limitations. Imagine combining those capabilities into one incredible aircraft.
If you could do that, you'd have a revolutionary hybrid aircraft. Well, they already have. And here it is. The V-22 Osprey. It's like a Transformer toy turned into reality.
The word transformational is thrown around a lot today. In this case, I really do think it's appropriate.
Incredibly, the Osprey morphs from helicopter to airplane in mid-air. It's sci-fi meets reality, and it's taken almost 2 decades to fully develop. It hasn't been easy, and the program has been fraught with controversy and tragedy. Now, after a major overhaul, the very latest version is ready to take to the skies. The Marines, the Navy, and the Air Force are all waiting to get their hands on it. All that remains is some final test and fine-tuning before being fully commissioned. I've come to Albuquerque, New Mexico to take a closer look at this extraordinary hybrid. The challenge was to create a completely new kind of aircraft, combining the speed and long range of a plane with the helicopter's ability to land vertically anywhere on the front line.
The limit with Special Operations Aviation has always been you have your C-130s that can fly long distances, but at the end they need a runway or a strip or something like that. You have your helicopters, which can take off from anywhere and land anywhere, but they can only go short distances and they go there very slow. This aircraft can do both of those things.
The key to the Osprey's success is its tilting rotors.
The significant advantage to tilt rotor technology is the ability to take off vertically and to fly like an airplane at fast speeds.
Now, the concept has been around for decades, but Chief Engineer Art Gravely has helped turn the theory into reality.
The tilt rotor design is a compromise between a pure helicopter and a pure airplane. It doesn't quite have the same hover capability that a pure helicopter does, and it's not quite as efficient in forward flight as a pure aircraft, but it balances those two requirements very well to give you the optimum performance as a vertical or short takeoff and landing VSTOL aircraft.
This is not the best airplane. This is not the best helicopter, but there's no other technology in the world that can combine speed, payload, and range with that fourth element, vertical takeoff and landing.
The Osprey's engines are placed in special housings called nacelles, mounted on each wingtip. The revolutionary design allows the Osprey to rotate these nacelles and its rotors. It takes off as a chopper with its rotors in an upright position. Once airborne, they turn forward to a horizontal position. This process takes about 20 seconds, and alakazam, the Osprey turns into an airplane. The Osprey is versatile, and different versions are being prepared for the various demands of the Marines, the Navy, and the Air Force. Depending on the version, it can drop and extract up to 24 troops at the front line or even deeper into enemy territory. And it can carry up to 15,000 pounds of cargo or comfortably lift the newest howitzer. It cruises at 275 knots and can fly at altitudes of 25,000 feet. It may not be the fastest or highest, but it can take off and land on virtually any terrain. For the Marine Corps, this is a huge improvement on their current aircraft.
It's got twice the speed, 3 times the payload, can lift twice the amount of troops, and has 5 to 6 times the range.
Program Manager Colonel Bill Taylor has been instrumental in fielding the Osprey.
It's been a long road, a long struggle to go from concept to development to fielding a prototype and ringing it out in a developmental test environment.
The Osprey program began in the 80s, but initial hopes for a technological breakthrough were tarnished by cost overruns and tragic loss of life.
There have been issues in the past. Obviously, the most well-known one was the tragedy at Marana.
In April 2000, during a training mission, catastrophe struck. An earlier version of the Osprey crashed in Marana, Arizona, and all 19 passengers were killed.
A lot of good Marines lost their lives in this program. It was a tragedy, and it also gave it just that extra maybe inch of bad publicity that some other aircraft didn't have.
More than ever, safety is the #1 priority, and many of the new upgrades deal specifically with safety-enhancing features. New computer software can identify problems with the aircraft and report them immediately straight to the maintenance crew.
Every sortie comes down, we look at that data, we interpret it, and we decide if the airplane is good or bad.
Flight maintainer Paul Kupach knows every inch of the aircraft and feels that at long last, it's ready for action.
I have a pretty good confidence level in this airplane. It's just like any other airplane that starts out. The F-16s didn't start out that well in the beginning as well. They had issues, and the same thing with this airplane. It's like anything that's brand new, it's going to have problems. However, we're not going to put an airplane in the air with it unless it's safe. No way, it's not going to happen.
Just how safe is it? Coming up, I put my trust into the Osprey's new design as it tackles the highly dangerous task of mid-air refueling. And later, is it a grenade launcher or a machine gun? The cool thing is, it's both. I'm in Albuquerque checking out the incredible Osprey. It's a transformer in the truest sense and provides an extremely fast way to get troops and artillery to the front line.
Speed, range, and versatility make it the ideal platform for special operations.
Soon, I'm going to be taken up to see the revolutionary Osprey in action. But first, I want to get a sense of what the pilot experiences when switching from helicopter to airplane mode. With so much computer technology, it's no surprise that they have a state-of-the-art simulator.
So if you want, you've got the controls.
So I'm starting to lift off the ground, yes?
Yep.
It's like no other simulator I've been in. With astonishingly real graphics, the view is breathtaking.
Doing all right? Or?
Yeah, you can go bring the power back a little bit to try to hold it. You're still climbing. You're about 80-foot hover now, but that's okay.
The pilots need to be masters in handling both helicopters and airplanes. Lieutenant Colonel Cardoso assures me that it's really easy to fly, but I need to know what it feels like to change from one to the other.
So go ahead and try some turns and kind of see how it feels. Right now, it's more like a helicopter right now because your nacelles are still in an upward position. So why don't we...
This is awesome, by the way.
Let's go ahead and get a little speed now. Bring the nacelles forward now. Go ahead and click and move them forward. We'll go to airplane mode.
Bring the nose up?
Yep. Now give it one click forward.
Got it.
Now you're an airplane.
Oh, look at it. I can feel the vibration all change.
And you're an airplane flying at coming up on 240 knots already.
Wow.
So now your controls are very much like an airplane sims you've flown before.
Flying the simulator was a virtual buzz, but there's no substitute for the real thing. It's time to see this amazing aircraft in the flesh. The Air Force guys are taking me up for a ride so I can experience the high-tech metamorphosis for myself.
The Osprey sounds great in theory. Now it's time to take this bird of prey in the air and see what it's all about.
Now I can check out how the Osprey starts like a twin-rotor helicopter, executing a perfect vertical takeoff. When we reach optimum height, the rotors shift to horizontal. This time I can really feel the changeover as the Osprey goes into airplane mode and starts to pick up speed. Honestly, it blows my mind.
In many ways, flying in the Osprey has always been a fantasy for me. When I first joined the Navy, this was a concept program. Now I can barely believe I'm actually flying in the Osprey.
For added maneuverability, the Air Force version has a super-sensitive radar, allowing it to operate at low level. It can follow the contours below in poor weather conditions or even in complete darkness. It can avoid threats, change its route, and choose discrete pickup and landing sites. And it's stealthy, too. The Osprey is 75% quieter than a helicopter, but it also has a 95% reduction in heat signature, giving it the ability to drop off troops in difficult areas quickly and quietly. The Air Force version of the Osprey carries over 2,000 gallons of fuel, more than any other variant. This gives it a combat radius of 500 nautical miles. If it needs to go even further, it can be refueled in mid-air. Today, I'm getting the opportunity to see this for myself. This is a highly skilled and dangerous task. The pilot must carefully maneuver the Osprey, allowing it to attach its probe to the fuel cable. One false move and the cable could get caught in the rotor, and that would mean it's game over for both aircraft. But getting it right is well worth the practice it takes. The ability to refuel in midair is crucial. As it penetrates hostile territory, it needs to be able to react to the changing situations on the battlefield. If the original pickup point or landing zone is no longer viable, a substitute may be miles away. So, the Osprey can now stay airborne long enough to get there and back again. Or it can hover while the battle plan is revised. And if the new landing zone is on rough terrain and has no airfield, for the Osprey, that's no problem. The rugged Albuquerque landscape is the perfect place for trying out the Osprey's all-terrain landing ability. Now the nacelles switch back into the upward position as it descends vertically and quickly. For this majestic bird, nowhere is off limits.
I think we're just starting to realize the full potential of the aircraft. This is just the beginning right now. That's why it's so much fun to kind of be on the ground floor of something that you know, without a doubt, has a long future ahead of it.
All my operational time is flying the predecessor of the MV-22, the H-46. I've got thousands of hours in that aircraft, numerous deployments, combat time, and I only wish back then that I had the capabilities that this aircraft brings to bear.
As you can see, rumors of the Osprey's extinction are greatly exaggerated. Soon, it'll be in the field and ready for combat.
Still to come, a smart new grenade launcher that can make a big difference on the front line. And Land Warrior, the futuristic combat suit that plugs the soldier into a digital battlefield. In modern warfare, many conflicts are taking place in urban environments. City streets have become the new front line, with no shortage of places where the enemy can hide and take cover. If you want to stand a chance, you need flexibility and a lot of muscle.
This beast is the Mark 19 40mm grenade machine gun currently used by the U.S. Army. It weighs 140 pounds. That's a lot of weight to carry around in the field. And there's a lot of recoil with this one. That's why you got the sandbags, to keep it in place.
It's a big, heavy beast that needs 2 soldiers to operate. It fires 40mm high-explosive grenades with the power to knock down a wall from more than 2 kilometers away. It's had an excellent combat record since it was first introduced in the 60s and has seen practically every conflict since. But times are a-changing. Now, there's a new weapon set to replace the Mark 19, and I've come to Burlington, Vermont to check it out. Meet the XM307. It's still a 2-man operation, but in almost every other way, it's a vast improvement on its predecessor.
Well, basically what we're trying to achieve with the XM307 is a weapon that's lightweight, low recoil, highly reliable, very accurate.
It claims to have an ultra-low recoil, so I'm going to do a quick comparison test with the Mark 19. Giving me a refresher is weapons technician Frank Hance.
Place the weapon on fire.
Weapon is on fire now.
Charge the weapon.
Charging the weapon. With the old Mark 19, to find the target, you need to get right down to the sights. But I have to be careful to keep my head back, because this beast kicks like a mule. The Mark 19 has a rapid rate of fire of 400 rounds a minute. That's a lot of firepower.
But there is a lot of recoil, and it weighs a ton, so carrying this bad boy around, that's got to be a pain.
It's the XM307's turn, and it's so steady it doesn't even need sandbags to keep it in position.
They say there's such little recoil from the XM307 that you could actually fire it with a cup of water right on top. You know me, I always like to test that stuff out just to see for myself. So we're gonna throw one round down range here, see what happens. That's pretty impressive.
And that minimal recoil means the XM307 can be made a whole lot lighter too. Good news for the guys who have to carry it. Using modern materials, they've cut its weight to a mere 50 pounds, including the tripod. That's about a third of its predecessor. In a typical urban situation, often the only way to take out a hidden sniper is to use heavy artillery like a rocket, a mortar, or even an airstrike. Trouble is, with that kind of power, chances are it will destroy more than just the sniper. It's likely to take out the entire building, and in a city, that can mean higher collateral damage. But the XM307 has come up with a solution.
One of the brilliant features of the XM307 is the smart rounds it fires.
It fires a new 25mm airburst grenade.
With the XM307's airburst run, you don't need to go through concrete. You can go over the top and blast everything away.
We've set up a typical sniper scenario with two guys hiding behind a wall and firing through a window.
Now what we want to do is fire one round through the window and just take out the guys inside. Airburst in here, blow these guys up, take them out so they're no longer a threat to your guys. And the room and the building is completely intact.
Design specialist Mike Cutter is running today's demo. Now, I won't be using a live round, but with this training ammo, I'll get to see the amazing effects of this airburst munition.
Taking it off safe, there to fire.
Using the XM307 couldn't be easier. It's basically aim, laze, and fire. The laser rangefinder allows you to find your target and calculates the distance. It then programs the airburst round to detonate at a certain distance from the target.
I've lased the building, I know exactly how far it is. Put one round right through the window. Sorry guys, see you later. There it goes.
The 25mm airburst round enters through the window and goes off at the precise program moment, mid-air, taking out the snipers, but leaving the building intact.
And just like that, they're gone.
If these were live rounds, those mannequins would be full of holes.
I mean, when I saw it go right through that window and then just go right off.
Yep.
Again, no collateral damage.
We want to take enemy cover out of the picture. If they're hiding behind a vehicle, if they're hiding behind a wall, if they're down in a fighting hole, we still want to be able to reach out and touch them.
But the XM307 isn't just restricted to firing grenades. It has another trick up its sleeve, the ability to convert into a .50 caliber machine gun, the XM312.
Now, I've heard that in 2 minutes, they can transform the XM307 into the XM312. Is that so?
Maybe in about 153.
153? Is that what you think?
Yeah.
All right. Now I expect you to get it done.
Give it to us, man.
Here you go.
Now, each gun is operated by two men, and this crew of Sergeant Eric Duncan and designer Mike Cutter are convinced they can beat the 2-minute deadline. The transformation involves changing just 4 parts, basically everything that touches the round, including the bolt and barrel.
130.
Once converted, the XM312 fires .50 caliber rounds with the power to punch through lightly armored vehicles.
That was fantastic. 1 minute, 42 seconds.
You gotta leave room for operator error.
Fantastic job. So why do you want to get this down to being able to transform this weapon from a 25mm to a .50 cal in less than 2 minutes?
Mission changes in a heartbeat from going from either a crew serve capability to be able to dismount it. In Afghanistan, I would have loved to have had something that I could bring a .50 caliber into the ground fight to be able to have a support by fire position up in the mountains, right where I needed it at a moment's notice.
And because .50 caliber ammo is available anywhere in the world, you're never gonna run out of firepower.
Ready to put some rounds down range?
Let's make it happen, man.
We've set up a brick wall with snipers hiding behind it. This time, I want to punch right through it to get to the bad guys.
Safety's off. Start messing up the wall.
The .50 caliber rounds make light work of the brick wall and anyone behind it.
That's incredible. And it feels like it's got the power, but there's no recoil.
Right, Dave.
It's easy to focus, it's easy to fight.
It's tough, it's light, and it fires with almost no recoil. It's a grenade launcher and a machine gun. Plus, with the smart programmable airburst round, you have more precision and less collateral damage than ever before.
With the XM307 and 312, We have one killer cruise serve weapon that's fast, flexible, and delivers a ton of firepower.
Still to come, I get a taste of the future with Stryker. It's the world's fastest, smartest, and most versatile armored vehicle. And I get to try out Land Warrior, a futuristic combat suit that plugs the soldier into a networked battlefield. It's the stuff of Hollywood, the invincible soldier of the future who can see and hear everything. The warrior who is part man and part machine. Now fiction is becoming reality. I've come to Yakima Training Center to find out what the future face of war looks like. One of the U.S. Army's most respected and highly decorated regiments is at the forefront of developing the soldier for the 21st century.
Since the beginning of time, the concept of the infantry soldier pretty much hasn't changed. He's issued a weapon, armor. If he's lucky, he gets a helmet. While the concept hasn't changed, it has evolved.
Meet Land Warrior. It puts state-of-the-art technology right onto the soldier's body, pushes his formidable fighting capability to another level. Land Warrior is a networked, computerized system worn by the soldier. Vital battlefield data is continuously transmitted straight to where it matters, keeping him one step ahead of the enemy. Imagine the scenario. You're deep in hostile territory. How do you know what's going on around the next corner? The mission. You're hunting for a terrorist. How do you keep track of his every move and get him before he gets you? This is where Land Warrior has the answer. It links each soldier together. At the flick of a switch, they can talk to each other. They can share pictures. They can all see the same things at the same time, no matter where they are. Land Warrior tells a soldier where he is, where his buddies are, what the mission is, and most importantly, where exactly the enemy is. The key components of this system are a radio link, a helmet display, GPS navigation, and a computer. Paul Meyer is the chief engineer on the Land Warrior program.
The basic plate of the Land Warrior system is comprised of 4 components. Starting on this side, you've got the computer, performs all the capabilities that your current laptop does. Okay, moving up here, we've got the radio, you've got the battery, and then moving down to the last component, you've got the navigation subsystem to allow the soldier can send out an accurate position report to the network.
Lieutenant Colonel William Pryor believes Land Warrior is transforming the modern battlefield.
I rely less now on my experience and my intuition because I don't have to rely on it as much. Again, there's always going to be fog of war. I still have to make assumptions, make decisions without perfect information. But my information is better now than it was before, so I presumably can make better decisions.
Land Warrior is helping to remove the fog of war on today's urban front line. To be effective, the soldier needs all the help he can get. As Land Warrior feeds all the battle data into the soldier's helmet, he's got all the intel he needs to make the right decision. First up, the soldier can see satellite pictures and maps that are projected onto the screen in front of his eye. What you are watching right now is exactly what the soldier sees. This heads-up display can show the position of friendly forces and highlight the enemy.
The helmet subsystem attaches to the soldier's combat helmet. In here, this looks exactly the same like if you were looking at a 17-inch monitor. On there, you can have multiple options of either looking at your map, you can look at the weapon sight, so the video feed from the weapon actually comes up into here, and then you can also do the various text messaging functions that we have in the system.
But the helmet doesn't just give the soldier superhuman sight, it sharpens his hearing too. At the push of a button, the soldier can increase the audio levels around him.
The headset provides us, with the ability to use our Land Warrior radio, and then these microphones right here also allow us to pick up the ambient noise that's around us. So, I can enhance that if I want to have, essentially a super hearing, or I can, reduce the volume if I'm really trying to tune out the outside environment and just concentrate on what's going on around me.
Land Warrior is all about empowering the soldier. It makes him more lethal and harder to beat. So that's why the soldier is also given improved vision through a special scope on his rifle. It's linked to his eyepiece. He can magnify the target. This means he can engage the enemy without ever stepping into the line of fire. The sight, along with the rifle and helmet, become an extension of the soldier's eyes and ears.
When you're talking about reduced exposure, you're actually talking about being able to see around a corner without having to expose myself.
Correct.
If I wanted to, say, look around a corner, myself out like this, and take a look where only the weapon is exposed.
Right.
And if worst case scenario, because I can see inside my optics, I can actually take a shot if I had to.
Right.
And there's also a reconnaissance element of this, isn't there?
Yes, with the ability to capture images and send them back to commanders. We like to say that every soldier is a sensor. Okay, we equip the soldiers with this capability, and now everybody that's out there can capture information, relay it back to our commanders to make more informed and timely decisions based on the information that the guys with the boots on the ground are providing.
This exchange of information works both ways. For example, you're hunting an insurgent. Your commander sends you his picture. This means when your squad is tracking a specific bad guy, you've got an up-to-date image of your quarry.
If we have him captured, we can just take a look in the screen. Hey, is this the guy we're looking for? Absolutely, or no, it isn't. So we can prevent a lot of friction there and confusion. That ability is worth the extra 10 pounds that we carry around. Absolutely.
It takes the commander's intent and pushes it all the way down to the lowest level. It's raw data now. It's come straight from, digitally onto the system. He understands. He sees the bigger picture. He's got maps of the neighborhood he's going to, down to street level photos, up to a 1 over 50,000 map, and everything in between.
That old cliche, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
That's true.
Now you've saved all that step of trying to explain a situation. You can see it.
Land Warrior can even provide thermal imaging. That's crucial in today's theater of war, when your enemy is hiding under cover of darkness.
Of course, the last piece of the puzzle is thermal imagery. We have the capability of putting on thermal weapon sights and tying that directly back into the heads-up display so that the soldier gets all the benefits of the reduced exposure, fire, and observation. Combine that with his current nighttime optics, really makes him an effective fighter in both day and night.
Land Warrior is smart technology that's changing the way battles are fought. By merging man with machine, the day of the universal soldier is here. Coming up, the super smart Stryker, taking the Land Warriors to the front line. Land Warrior is a smart way of turning soldiers into superhuman fighting machines. But until they start making bionic legs to go with them, you're still going to need a way to get the troops to the heart of the action quickly without wearing them out.
There's a new vehicle in the world of mobile armor. It's fast, it's tough, and it's extremely versatile. They simply call it Stryker.
Stryker is a whole family of brand new armored combat vehicles. With a top speed of over 60 miles an hour, it can quickly transport infantry to critical battlefield positions. At Yakima Training Center in Washington State, I've come to see a pack of Strykers in action. 4th Battalion, 9th Infantry will soon be deploying these vehicles in Iraq, so this training exercise will be vital in preparing them for war. This is the U.S. Army's first new military vehicle since the Abrams tank in the 1980s, and this exercise is going to involve more than 30 Strykers, all set up to do different jobs, spread over several miles of front line. One Stryker acts as command and control, directing the soldiers in the field. Many of the others are used to transport the troops, but there is a whole range of other jobs that the Stryker can be adapted for.
If you have a mission, the Stryker vehicle has a variant. When you need a big gun, look at the Mobile Gun System, MGS. This is the Fire Support Vehicle, FSV. And this variant is the Mortar Carrier B.
The fixed mortar fires through armored doors that swing open on the top of the Stryker. There's also a portable mortar on board that can act as a backup. I wanted to see it in action while I had the chance.
Not nearly the range of a 155 artillery piece, but almost as much killing power.
Right. That's fantastic. And people don't realize just how far you can reach out with these things. Yeah, it's not artillery, but you can reach out pretty far, make a huge difference in the battlefield.
Watch how much the suspension rocks when they fire these things, too.
Even the standard kit for the Stryker is awesome. It's tooled up with an M2 machine gun and a Mark 19 grenade launcher. But when you're carrying the infantry's finest, the Land Warrior soldier, you need to be able to offer protection as well. That's why the Stryker is built to withstand small arms fire and artillery fragments. With all that military hardware, one single Stryker is a force to be reckoned with. But in packs, they're much more lethal. Like the Land Warrior soldiers they support, Strykers are digitally networked so they can build an up-to-date picture of the battlefield.
It has a digital capability that's integrated into the vehicle and integrated across the brigade. So when you're driving the vehicle, you can see where you are, where your friends are, and where the enemy is. That is a decisive edge.
At the press of a button, the officer in the command Stryker can issue new orders.
he can instantly, through the computer that hooks to the system, create a new set of operational graphics on a map, on a piece of imagery, and send them with a text message saying, hey, instead of turning left, turn right.
The Stryker is fast and flexible, and that's why Colonel John Lear is so confident it's the right tool for the job.
At all levels of war, tactical, operational, and strategic, it gives us extreme mobility. The tactical level, it can outmaneuver anything on the battlefield with speeds in excess of 65 miles an hour safely. Operational mobility, we can move it within theater on C-130 airframes. And obviously, strategic level, moving it throughout the world on C-17s or other type of lifters, we can get numerous of the Stryker vehicles due to the weight and the size on there and deploy them anywhere in the world.
And there are plenty of Strykers out there. The U.S. Army received the very first pre-production models in 2002 and was so impressed with the prototype's performance that it quickly ordered over 2,000 units. They're ready for action, and so am I. 4th Battalion is ready to start the exercise, and I'll be hitching a ride on the commander's vehicle to see for myself how Stryker works alongside the Land Warrior system, right on the front line. In combat, the soldier on the front line faces the greatest risk and needs every advantage he can get. I've seen how Land Warrior turns each man into an integrated part of the battlefield network. And the Stryker armored combat vehicle has already proven itself as fast, quiet, maneuverable, and smart. Now I'm going to see what happens when these two incredible systems start working together. More than 30 Stryker units equipped with Land Warriors are going on a training exercise, and I'll be at the heart of the action.
It's time to go to work.
Their mission is to capture an enemy base. The Strykers will spread out over several miles, but they don't know what surprises are in store. And I'm traveling in the commander's Stryker.
Now, because of digital technology, you can extend the eyes and ears of the commander in a way you never thought possible before. What are some of the big advantages you get with the commander's vehicle?
As opposed to other Strykers? I have more communications and command and control equipment in this vehicle.
Soldiers and Strykers can talk by voice, text, or video link. Everyone from the bottom to the top has this ability and is kept up to date about what's happening.
I know where I am, I know where the other folks are, and I can communicate that way via text messaging, essentially in formatted reports, and he can see where I'm at, and so forth. And I have other means, you know, digital radios, satellite comms, if necessary, that kind of thing.
As the battalion crosses into a hostile area, the Strykers scan the battlefield looking for trouble. When they spot it, they've got the tools to identify whether it's friend or foe and take action.
Stop.
My vehicle comes to a halt. The rest of the force unleashes its payload, and the Land Warrior troops head for the frontline bunkers.
Now, you've seen the digital battlefield. Let's see what it looks like.
All right, we got tank targets up.
Sometimes you just want to see what's going on.
One.
As this is just an exercise, I'm allowed onto the field to see how effective they are.
If you look all the way around, you see the vehicles. They came in to support these guys. They're actually going in right over here and clearing the bunker right in front of us. Now you can hear there's some smoke going off, some other things, simulating other contacts that we're actually taking.
Now I can get a closer look at the trenches. It's here that the enemy has been holed up, but the Land Warrior troops have done their job.
This is a real dangerous position for a soldier. You can have a full-on firefight in the space of someone's closet. Now imagine, you walk into this position here, you don't know what's around the corner, and there's just tons of different little places, crevices that people can hide in. It's one of the scariest things ever, but you gotta be focused on what you're gonna get done. Good tactics and training at this point are the only thing that's gonna keep you alive. You come through here, you don't know what's around the corner, but you gotta make sure you're fine, you keep this train moving, and you've gotta impact this area. You've gotta intimidate, you've gotta own this space. And you can see right back there, all these different little positions they can fire out of, they can shoot out of. It's difficult, you've gotta be on top of this.
In bunkers like these, the Land Warriors can keep everyone in the loop, feeding back critical data to the entire assault force. Every enemy movement is instantly streamed to anyone who needs it. The next arrival is yet another variant. This one is for medical support, and its job is to go into the battle zone and get the injured out fast.
As you can see, there was a casualty coming through those trenches. Now, the beautiful thing about Stryker, there's so many variants, there's even the medical variant. Now you can bring a vehicle right on board, medevac him instantly, get him out of here and get him to safety so they can treat him. Look how quickly they shift position and get ready to move out. Once that target is cleared out, you can see how quickly Stryker can reposition itself and get ready to take off.
Mission over. It's debrief time. They need to be thorough. With this battalion heading for Iraq, the next action they see will be a matter of life and death. But with this incredible technology to help them, these soldiers are better equipped than ever before.
Land Warrior and Stryker seek to dramatically increase the soldier's ability to see the firefight, make faster and more accurate tactical decisions, while delivering lightning strikes to the fully networked battlefield of the 21st century.